Hello, people. You're welcome to Pro Masterclass. My name is Tola, T.A. Alabi. And in today's class, I'm going to be talking on a topic that I decided to call Why Your Brain is Not Good Enough. Why your brain is not good enough. And before I go into today's topic, I want to thank my encouragement sponsor. And, I normally thank people who have encouraged me along the way in my life, on my life's journey. And today I want to thank my sister, my older sister, Tenny. She's really been an encouragement to me. I've been doing Pro Masterclass now for, I think this is the third year. And when I was just a few months into Pro Masterclass, and I've done just a handful of content videos, my sister saw me and said, "I really like what you're doing. What you're doing is really good. What you're really putting out there is good." I don't take that for granted because sometimes the people that know us for the longest are people that really don't see value in what we are doing. So for my sister to say that, who had known me all my life, and to validate what I was doing in terms of putting out content was very special. But what was interesting was she said, "What you're doing is really good. As a matter of fact, would you mind, or would you like to talk to people in my organization about this?" And that was the first ever corporate training I ever had the opportunity of doing, and it really boosted my confidence. And that was the first ever time I spoke to people that were not designers or creatives. And I can only thank my sister for that. And for that, I want to dedicate this content to my sister, Tenny. Now we'll go right into today's content. Why your brain is not good enough. Now, I was having a conversation with somebody a while back, and the person was saying, "Tola, like Pro Masterclass, your content you put out right now, it seems more like spiritual content. It seems very churchy. Are you now a pastor? Are you preaching to people now?" And I told him, "No, I'm not. I'm not a pastor. I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to be religious. And I really am not trying to be spiritual. The truth of the matter is, when I started Pro Masterclass, I made a vow to myself that I'll only tell people the truth, what I see as the truth. And if it's something I have not experienced, I wouldn't say it. And that's when I tell people about my design journey. I always tell them about stuff I've done. So it's the channel, the platform, my content is always based on what I can relate with, not what sounds right, but what has worked for me. And I always tell people the truth. And that's what this channel is for. And I guess for me, I've come to that point in my life where I realize spirituality is the truth. If I were to make content for people or for business people, whether designers or just regular business people in any area of business, and I didn't talk about spirituality, I'll be holding back a lot from them, and a lot of them will be trying very hard and getting very little results, and then they would say, "What Tola Alabi says doesn't work, it just sounds good," and then I'll be a motivational speaker, which I don't want to be. I just want to be a guy telling you his honest opinion. And the truth is, you might take it or not. You might believe it or not. I've had people tell me, "Oh, what you're saying is just rubbish. It doesn't make any sense." Oh, I've had people go on way and tell me, "Oh, you're a liar. You're lying to people. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't work that way. You're oversimplifying these things." And that's okay. For people to have that, I respect people's opinion, but you can have your opinion. You understand? People can have their opinion and their own views of things. But the truth is, there's nothing I say here that is not stuff that I've tried on my own and things that I've deeply thought about and I truly believe works. And so today, I'm going to tell you why I feel our brains are not good enough. You see, in my years of experience as a business person, as a designer, and I want to talk about design, my design journey a lot, with all sense of humility, in design community here in Nigeria, I have quite a good following. And I've had the opportunity to inspire and motivate and mentor designers that kind of look up to my work and say, we just really love your work. Your work is really good in the branding and design sphere. You're doing really unique stuff. And a lot of time people ask me, how do you come up with these ideas? Why does your work stand out so much? Why does your design work stand out so much? Why does your branding work stand out so much? How do you do it? And I also have people tell me the same thing, even with my creating audio content and speaking to people. And I remember I was having a session with someone once on my mentoring platform, and after talking, it was like, Mr. Tola, how do you do it? How do you get to talk with people and connect with them? How do you know the words to say? How do you just talk? And a lot of times I try to just attribute it to something technical of, I've learned this thing over time, or I went to this school, or I just kind of trained my eye or trained my brain, but I would be lying if I said that was how I got to be exceptional at whatever I did, whether it's design or speaking or mentoring. I would be lying if I attributed it to anything I trained myself for. And that's when I got to realize that we're all capable of doing really great, awesome things. Everyone is capable of doing it. And there are two ways of doing great, awesome things. By doing it in the physical, relying on your strength, relying on your physical facilities like your brain, your education, which is very much linked to your brain, you understand? And you could do it that way. Or you could do it the spiritual way, by relying on spiritual resources. And I've tried both, and I realized one is incredibly tiring, incredibly draining, and incredibly demanding. And the other, for the lack of better word, is incredibly easy. Incredibly easy. And that's just the truth. And when people say, man, business is just hard. It's just hard. It's just hard to be successful. It's hard to stand out. I kind of question, this person, is this person really tapping into what they have in the spiritual, or are they just trying to grind it out in the physical? And the reason why we grind it out in the physical is that the resources in the physical are so limited. Resources are far between and are limited. And on the physical terrain, things are unfair. That's just the truth. On the physical terrain, things are unfair. Resources are not distributed equally. They are not distributed evenly. And you realize that some people have more. Some people are more advantaged than others in the physical terrain. So when we rely on our brain to create stuff, rely on our brain to think out good ideas, some of us just can never ever come to the point where we are able to think out ideas that are as good as other people. Some people will always surpass us if we are going based on physical. And we all surpass us on the basis that some people just have higher IQs. That's just it. Their IQ is higher than yours. There's nothing you can do about that. They would learn 1 + 1 easier and faster than you any given Sunday. IQ-wise, they are better than you. They were born with that. They are better. No matter how attentive or how dedicated you are, they would always learn faster and think faster and solve problems faster. They have better brains than you. That's the truth. Just like you have people out there that are more beautiful than you. There's nothing you can do about it. They are more beautiful. They'll get more attention. That is just the truth. They are more physically beautiful than you. There's nothing you can do. They have better eyes, better symmetry in their face. Their height is better. Their skin is better. There's nothing you can do about it. The physical things are just unfair. You understand? These people might even be your brother, your sister. Same father, same mother. You understand? But they just got the better genes. And they're just more attractive. And they have more opportunities come to them. What can you do about that? Nothing. The physical is so unfair. Some people are just born into rich families, privileged families. They can go to the best of schools, get the best of tutors. You cannot access those things. You can't. You're born to an average family or a poor family. You can't blame anybody for that. It's just the way things are. You didn't choose them. You didn't choose the family. Some people were born in the US, some people were born in Nigeria. Some were born in a place where economically stable, Switzerland. Some people were born in a place where economically unstable, Nigeria. You understand? What can you do about it? You didn't choose that. It's physical was given. You got to work with what you have. Do you understand? And that's the frustration with the physical. Sometimes you're just trying, but you're never ever going to meet up with those people that are more advantaged than you on the physical plane. They just have it. Things are unfair on that plane. And that's why it's not enough to build on that plane. Some people would always outdo you. I do design, and some people are just better technically at design than I am. Artistically at design than I am. So there's always a cap in the physical. There's a cap. There's a cap to what your brain can do. No matter how intelligent you are, there's someone that is more intelligent. And there's nothing you can do to be more intelligent than that person. Nothing. There's a cap. There's a cap on finances. No matter how rich you are, there's someone that is richer that can access more. No matter how much you try, they are still richer. Do you understand? So there's a cap on physical things. And that's why when you stay on physical things, you see the world as unfair. Because you feel like some people have more access to do greater things than you can. But that's why we must approach the world from the spiritual. Because the spiritual balances everything out. When you approach the world from the spiritual, and approach business from the spiritual, and approach problem solving from the spiritual, everybody has equal access. Because you know what? Spiritual resources are abundant and never ending. Never ending. With your brain is very limited. There's a cap. Your brain is physical. Your strength is limited. Cap. Your physical appearance limited. There's a cap. There's a cap on everything. There's a cap on everything in the spirit, in the physical. But on the spiritual, there is no cap. Resources are abundant and can go round. Remember, your body is the one that has a brain. Your spirit doesn't have a brain. Your body is the one that needs an IQ. Your spirit doesn't need an IQ test. Your spirit only needs to connect to the source where there's abundance of inspiration and creativity and strength and beauty that flows through the spiritual. And that's why when you flow through the spiritual, you can do as good work as somebody that went to a privileged school to learn. And they wonder, where did you learn this thing from? And they're like, this guy didn't go to school. He didn't go to school. How did he learn to do artwork as good as that? How did he get to think as good as that? How is he such a good orator? He didn't go to learn under anybody. Where did he come from? And that's why when you look at the Bible, you see that there was a time the disciples were doing really incredible things. And people were like, these guys are fishermen. We know them. They are illiterate. How are they able to talk in a language that we don't understand? How are they able to speak to people and gather such a crowd of people and get their attention? How? These guys couldn't talk well before. And that's what amazes people. But that was because the disciples started keying to the spiritual. And that's what happens to me when I work as a designer. You see, I don't wreck my brain and start thinking, how do I solve this design branding problem? It's mostly a looking at it and saying, okay, God, lead me. Lead me. Teach me how to do this thing like nobody has ever done it before. And make your spiritual resources flow into my life, those abundant things that I cannot access because I didn't go to Pratt School of Design. But let it flow directly from you, the creator of the world. And I let that flow directly into my life. And before you know it, the inspiration comes to do something I've never thought of before. And all I do is I'm just obedient. And I just do it. And then people are wowed. When someone has a branding problem and I just think, okay, God, lead me. I don't know much about this industry, but just lead me. And it leads me to this and this. And before I know it, divine inspiration comes. And it's so abundant. It can come to me, it can come to you. No matter what part of the world you are. And that's how you do really great things. Even though physically, people see you and say, oh, I went to school with this guy. He wasn't the smartest guy in the class. I went to school with this girl. She wasn't the smartest. She wasn't even top 100. How is she top in her industry right now? And look, where did she school? Oh, she schooled in some school in some third world country. She didn't go to any Ivy League university. How is she able to write really awesome books and come up with really awesome stories like that? Where is that coming from? Who mentored her? Nobody mentored her. You understand? And it's because of the flow, the connection to the spiritual, where there's abundant resources. And that's why I tell people, if you don't believe in the spiritual, you might do great things, but it will come at a cost. It will come at the cost of you getting drained, tired. It's affecting your health, affecting your relationships, affecting your marriage, affecting your availability to your kids. You're always away from home because you're trying so hard in the physical, and something has to give. But there's an easier way, and that's by connecting to the spiritual. And I want someone to be encouraged by this today. You can do great things. No matter what home you're from, you can do really great things. It's what you're connected to. Stop trying to figure it out with your brain. Start trying to do it by connecting to the spiritual. And that's why it seems my content is spiritual right now. When I go and I do corporate training, or I speak to people, the truth is, my preparation is not so in-depth. I don't have everything written out. But then I just think, I need to talk to these people. And I tell, oh God, man, I need to talk to these people. Help me. Let your spiritual resources just flow. And before you know it, I just start jotting down some points on one page. Some points, never an in-depth thing. And when I get there, I just start talking. And you know what? Experiences from my life just start coming. I just start telling stories and people start connecting. And I can see it in their eyes that they're connecting, and it's making so much sense to them. Not because I'm the best speaker, but because I'm talking from a spiritual flow. It's flowing. And that's why most of the time I go back to listen to what I said to people. And it makes so much sense to me. And I'm like, oh man, that makes so much sense. How did I think of that? But the fact that I didn't think of it, I allowed it to flow. I didn't drain myself. As opposed to people that speak and they go and they get all books that they feel would help them to speak and go for training to talk. Those things are good, but the thing is that there's always a cap. There's someone that gets better books. There's someone that has a better speech teacher, just by virtue of the fact that they have more access. But you don't have to get discouraged or envy them or wish them bad because you can't access it. The truth is, what you cannot access in the spirit, in the physical, the spiritual balances out, so you have access to it too. So I really hope someone is encouraged by this today, and someone would understand that life is on two planes, physical and spiritual, and you do not have to struggle on the physical. And on this note, I'd like to wish you all a great week.